What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another video. So as you guys may have read from the title of this video, we're going to be talking about the best bang for your buck mods when it comes to the Mark 7/Mark 7.5 GTI and Golf R. Now this particular car is my car and it's got about $8,000 worth of mods on it, but are all of those mods necessarily worth it? We're going to talk about that today. So in this video we're mainly going to just be talking about performance mods, not so much exterior mods, because all of that is kind of, well, personal taste. Some people like heavily modded exteriors, others don't. My car here just has the basic stuff, still on the stock wheels, but we're just going to mainly focus on performance mods today. Oh, and if you guys are new, if you could please hit that subscribe button, throw this video a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. So let's pop open the hood here and see what we got going on. So there are a few key mods here that I would say, since I've owned this car, I don't think they're worth the money at all. Now, with these cars, you know, there's quite a bit of aftermarket support for them, which is awesome, but some of the stuff is not necessarily needed. Now, this was an APR parts car like I've specified in my other video, so this pretty much has every single APR, I can't talk today, part you could want on your car. Pretty much you went through the catalog, picked everything, this car has it. Now you guys can't see it, but it does have the APR intercooler, we have the intake, the oil catch can, the turbo inlet pipe, the full exhaust, the TCU tune, the ECU tune, you know, kind of all that stuff to make this car a stage 2 car. Now, just to get it out of the way, what are the 2 or 3 things that I think are kind of almost a waste of money? Now, this is obviously all my opinion, but if I was going to buy all these parts myself again, which ones would I buy and which ones would I skip, saying, that really didn't do anything? So the first one is going to be subjective, and that's going to be the intercooler. Now obviously the intercooler gives you, more power, more, steady intake air temperatures, all of that. Now if you were in a northerner climate where you only have to deal with maybe hotter temperatures for 2, maybe 3 months out of the year, I honestly would say the intercooler is not going to be worth it for you, mainly for those reasons. Now obviously it's different if you're tracking the car or stuff like that, but if you're not going to be doing any of that stuff, it's just your daily driver and you live in a northern environment where it doesn't really get too hot, the intercooler being, though, as they're about $1,000 or so, that would be a part that I wouldn't necessarily put on my car. Now here we are in the beautiful state of Florida where it is hot all the time, so an intercooler definitely is more beneficial here than it would be somewhere else. But that is the first thing that I would maybe cut from my mod list if I lived in a different environment. The next thing that I would cut 100% is this right here, and that is the oil catch can. Now, I know on VWs there's been a big thing about oil catch cans in the past and everything else. Now, from what I've read, it appears that the Mark 7.5s kind of have solved the problem of needing an oil catch can based on upgraded factory components and systems. Now, this oil catch can here has been on the car since 1,000 miles, and I've just removed it actually the other day, and there was actually nothing in that oil catch can. So that's really good, and everything's great with that, no complaints. However, it is definitely a mod that, with that showing that there's nothing in it, it's definitely a mod that you don't necessarily need at all. I forget what the retail on one of those is. I think it's a few $100s for the oil catch can, so definitely something I would cut. Don't put an oil catch can on these. It really doesn't do anything. I know these, I'm not sure about the carbon buildup issue. There's a few videos on that, but I would say just to do regular cleanings as far as that's concerned, but I don't really think the oil catch can is doing much of anything. And finally, the last mod I would say that isn't maybe necessarily worth it depending on who you are and what your goals are, is the turbo inlet pipe, which is back here. Now, you obviously do get more power out of it. It is a better design than the OEM one, but if you're looking at just the best bang for your buck mods, I would say that is probably not worth it because, yeah, sure, does it give you a few horsepower? Is it a better part for the car? Yes and yes. But for the price of it, are you really going to notice it in the grand scheme of things? If you're really on a budget and just want to do a few key mods, I would say not. Now moving on back to around the back side of the car here, we will talk about the exhaust. So this car is fitted with the valved APR exhaust here. So it's not the race one, but it is the one that does indeed, I don't know if you guys can even see it, but it does have the two mufflers back there with the valved exhaust. So this is a good exhaust if your car's a daily driver because it's not necessarily loud all the time, but you do have to pay for that. It is quite a bit more expensive than the regular one, which is just their race exhaust. You kind of want your car loud all the time. I would say if you like your car loud all the time, don't waste your money on getting the valved exhaust because it is pretty quiet 80% of the time. It does get really loud when you're getting on it, but if you're not really getting on it, it is pretty quiet. But if you're someone who wants kind of the best of both worlds, it may be something to spend the extra money on. So the last thing I'm going to talk about while we're in the engine bay up front here is the intake. Now, this is the APR carbon fiber intake, like I said before. It is a fairly expensive intake, and it's hard to say whether it is worth it or not, whether it performs actually better than just the stock one. Now, honestly, you don't get too much turbo noise out of this intake as much as other cars I've had in the past that have intakes. You do hear it, but even if you have the windows down or the radio up a little bit, you don't really get any noise. So if you are on a serious budget, I hate to say it, but the intake is one I would either try to find a cheaper one than the APR one because it is quite expensive for what it is. But I would say you could probably cut that altogether if you only have, say, maybe $2,000 or $3,000 to modify this car. Now, at this point in the video, I can see it in the comment section below. Steve, you've listed all the parts on this car and basically said that they're stupid. Don't get them. They're a waste of money. That's not necessarily true, but I have kind of crossed off some of the things that you don't really need if you are on a budget. Now, what are the things that you should be getting for this car? And you may have seen it coming, but I'm going to tell you what a lot of people have told you. There are really only two, well, we'll call it three things that you could do to this car to save the most money to get exactly what you need to get out of the car. Buy a downpipe, get a tune, and get a TCU tune if you have the DSG like I have in this car. Those are the only three things that you really need to get 90% of the performance out of this car that you're going to get out of it. Do the other things add to that performance? Of course they do. But that's not what we're talking about in this video. We're talking about if you only have, say, $2,500, $3,000 to spend on this car performance-wise, what should you do? Should you get, the intercooler and a stage 1 tune? No. Get a downpipe, get a stage 2 tune, and get a TCU tune if you have a DSG. Those are the biggest bang for your buck mods that you're going to get, and that's what I mainly want to get across in this video. And then the last thing you should probably get, even if you're not going to track the car, is a rear sway bar because it does make such a good difference in the handling. Now, this car was just fitted with a set of lowering springs so I can keep the stock shocks on this car, keep the stock adjustability. So if you guys are interested in the suspension setup, how it kind of is with just the lowering springs, go check out that video. It is on my channel. I'll probably put a link in the description. So there you guys have it. Those are the best bang for your buck mods. If you are on a budget and you just want to slightly modify the car to get the most you can out of it, those are the things I would recommend. Now, if there is something else that you guys think should be added to the list, or maybe something you disagree with, because hey, like I said, this is all my opinion, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let's get a discussion going about this for all you GTI and Golf R owners out there in the world. But that's going to pretty much wrap up this video. I don't want to keep rambling on and on about it because it is kind of just what I said it is. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you are new to the channel, I really appreciate that. Throw this video a thumbs up if you found any of the information useful in this video, and as usual, we will see all you guys on the next video. Peace!